Music on the 27th of October. The event that's now in its 29th year will feature a variety of talented musicians that include Sweet Concept, UKZN's vocal group and UKZN's Big Bandalong, to mention just a few of those that will be blazing the stage come Friday. Well, Neil Gonsalves is a lecturer at the Center for Jazz and Popular Music, and he joins us now from our Durban studio to tell us more about this event. Neil, a very good morning to you. Welcome to Morning Live. I mean, almost 30 years. What is the fundraiser all about? What is this Jazz Jol event all about?
The Jazz Jol is basically a big jazz party. One of the biggest jazz events on the Durban calendar, actually. And it features our students, sometimes staff in the UKZN jazz program. And it features some of the best talent. It's in its 29th year, and it goes back obviously a long time. It features many of the most famous South African jazz musicians that have come out of our program at the university. And it's a fundraiser. It's a fundraiser for the scholarship, the Ronnie Madonsela Scholarship, which assists our jazz students in terms of student fees, in terms of being able to travel to some of the national student events, all kinds of extracurricular opportunities. That's a vital part of the student's education.
Now, 29 years is a long time, and I'm sure during that time there have been many highlights and lowlights as well. But what would you say has been at the center of the success of this event over that period?
I think it's probably the music itself, and obviously the energy of the students, because jazz is a vital part of. I mean, one of the reasons it's such a vital music, such an important kind of music, is in terms of how it brings people of various walks of life together. It's such a diverse music. Probably in the 29 years that we've hosted the Jazz Jol, the music has become increasingly diverse, and for that reason, it's able to bring more and more people together. And that's one of the primary functions of the Center for Jazz and Popular Music. The Jazz Jol has actually been hosted in various different venues across the city over all of these years. Now we have our own space. Well, we've had it for many years now, the Center for Jazz and Popular Music. But previously we've hosted the Jazz Jol, for example, when it first started at the Moon Hotel, which is on South Coast Road. And we had many great Jazz Jols in those days as well. But central to the Jazz Jol has always been the students and the energy of those students, which goes back all the way to, we've just recently lost Zimnawana, Johnny Mekwa. Those were all people that were beneficiaries in some way or the other of the Ronnie Madonsela Scholarships Fund. So it goes back a long time, and those people would have been central to the Jazz Jol, would have played in the UKZN big band in that particular version all those years ago.
I mean, the event itself is quite a big one, Neil, and I mean, it's clear to see that there are so many jazz lovers, so many people who enjoy it, so many people who just have this pure love of jazz music. Was there any thought or any idea of sort of bringing in other genres in the mix, or is the fact that people love jazz music so much the reason why you've kept it authentically jazz oriented and pop oriented?
Well, like I said, the music has become more diverse over the years, and I mean, I think a good example of how that plays itself out in terms of the music that gets represented at the Jazz Jol is in the repertoire of our big band this year. So our big band this particular semester has actually been focusing on house music, and specifically South African house music. And students in the big band have been arranging for that particular format, music by AKA and so on. And so that brings, it brings in a much more obviously commercial element, something that's much more local and something that speaks much more to younger people, but also brings it within the realm of jazz. Because jazz, as much as it is a genre of music, is also a way of playing music. and it's able to absorb lots of different kinds of music into it. So I think, you know, we can still have our formats, our jazz formats, we can have our jazz ensembles, but the repertoire is very diverse. So also amongst the jazz, the repertoire of the jazz, the big band, is this year they've been working on some music by Earth, Wind and Fire. So it's going to be a very, very high energy, very a diverse range of music that's going to appeal to people across the board.
Now, Neil, before I let you go, please let us know where we can get our tickets and how much they cost.
You can get the tickets either at the door on the day, but preferably you'd book ahead of time, and you can contact Tuli Zama, our administrator of the Jazz Center, on 031 260 3385, or you can email her at zamat1 at ukzn.ac.za. The tickets cost 120 Rand. We've got discounts for pensioners and students. The pensioners discount is 80 Rand and 60 Rand for students.
All right, Neil Gonsalves is a lecturer at the Center for Jazz and Popular Music at UKZN. Thank you so much for speaking to us about their 29th installment of the Annual Jazz Jol Fundraiser event at the Center for Jazz and Popular Music that's set to take place on Friday, the 27th of October. Time for a quick break. We'll be back.